Panther people, what up? Let's talk about the Panthers taking on future Carolina Panther Lamar Jackson. One can hope. What's going on? You're watching Panthers Post with Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. I know it's been a minute. I've been doing those YouTube shorts, but I do appreciate everybody who tuned in live. I think there's about as many as 60, 70 of you guys watching the live Thursday night football against the Panthers and the Falcons at the bank. The Panthers victorious. Deontay Foreman, my guy, over 130 yards rushing. I appreciate all you guys who tuned into that. Panthers taking on the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Could this be the Panthers' first non-divisional win of the season? I don't know about that. Here are some of the keys to victory for the Panthers if they're going to somehow come out of another AFC North matchup maybe victorious, because there's something about this team, whether it's the Steelers or the Browns this year, whether it's the Bengals this year, we all remember or don't want to remember that game, and then just their relationship with the Baltimore Ravens as well. Just that division. It's just, when you start having the Panthers up against some of the legacy divisions, just not great. Just not a great record. Panthers got to do to try to win this game. Sounds obvious. Because it is. You have to contain Lamar Jackson. He's probably the most dangerous dual-threat quarterback in this league. This is the second most efficient rushing attack in the NFL. You got him, Gus Edwards, and Kenyon Drake, but you got to take a look at number 8. You want to keep him, as Brian Bird said today, in the phone booth. You don't want to give him any running lanes. But the problem is, with this team, and we've seen it last year against the Cowboys. We saw it this year in week 1 against the Cleveland Browns. We saw it against New York Giants, actually pretty good. But we saw it against the Cincinnati Bengals. If a team decides, hey, we are going to run down the Carolina Panthers' throats, they're normally quite good at doing exactly just that. We ripped on the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line pass protection, not keeping Joe Burrow clean. They decided, all right, we can't do this. Let's do what we're good at, and that's run blocking. And they did an amazing job. 5 touchdowns for Joe Mixon on that game. And so I think the Panthers defense, obviously they got to look themselves in the mirror. And luckily they got young, athletic, flexible guys, bendy guys like the Brian Burns. Marquise Hayes has been doing great this year. Frankie Louvu kind of playing like a Troy Polamalu type, just freelance, unconventional type linebacker. I thought J.C. Horn did a great job against the Atlanta Falcons, shedding blocks to try to get into the backfield, making tackles for loss. Shaq Thompson's always been kind of stiff around the hips, but he's always there as a last resort. Jeremy Chin still not available at this point. Panthers defense can be a bend but don't break. Let him run, do his thing, but just keep him out of the end zone. And when you talk about their pass offense, that's my second key to victory for the Panthers. If they can make this team one-dimensional and make them force to pass, and I know it's, again, basic defense type thing, take away the thing they do best. Bill Belichick loves doing that. But if they keep Lamar in that phone booth, as Brian Burns says, and make him throw to Devin Duvernay, I think Deshaun Jackson's on this team now. But then I think I would put our defensive backs, especially, and no disrespect, with Dante Jackson out, he's a fireball out there. But you got J.C. Horn, who's ranked as number 1 cornerback in the league. Say what you want about how many games he's actually played, or is he going up against number 1 receivers. But I'll put our defensive backs up against their wide receivers any day. Now, there will be definitely a mismatch there in terms of the passing game. I don't know how healthy Mark Andrews is right now, but Isaiah Likely is a matchup nightmare, and that guy has been a lock. If you want to bet on him to be an anytime touchdown scorer, this is not a betting show, but I bet on Isaiah Likely when they played against the Saints to be an anytime touchdown scorer, and that's exactly what happened. I wanted that guy out of Coastal Carolina to be a Carolina Panther. I thought it was meant to be. Didn't happen. But he's a guy that, without a Jeremy Chin in the defensive backfield, I think is going to be tough to keep up with. They did keep Kyle Pitts in check, but again, Marcus Mariota, not the same kind of passer as Lamar Jackson. I had a bye week, which is why I didn't have a video on Sunday. They played on Thursday. They got that entire weekend off, and now they're coming on a 1 o'clock kickoff in Baltimore. So I think the defense will definitely be rested because, as we saw in previous games, because the offense is the weaker point on this team, the defense, you see them, they just get gassed. And now that we're heading into the fall, it's going to be pretty good weather, sunny on that Sunday afternoon in Baltimore, Maryland. There doesn't seem to be any precipitation, but not hot, not humid. They got that extra rest. I think the defense should be able to keep their legs for a longer period of time. They're going to need it against Lamar Jackson. And you saw earlier this week, the Panthers picked up De'Aaron King, former Miami Hurricanes quarterback, try to have him. He was a guy I actually looked in the draft, never got drafted, but they're using him right now almost as like a Lamar Jackson light because P.J. Walker out with a high ankle sprain. So they're using De'Ara King right now to be their pseudo Lamar Jackson. So, maybe it just kind of, keeps their sports psychology minds all tight when they get to the field at 1:00 on Sunday and get ready for a shifty, powerful, built like a Ferrari type quarterback in Lamar Jackson. The offensive side, you got Baker. I'm going to headbutt you, get a concussion protocol. Mayfield, and he's a bro. We already talked about that he's going to bring out the bro fans, and hopefully he thinks straight and just realizes, and as we've all realized in this Baker Mayfield project that we had to endure the first couple of weeks of the season, that he not tried to win the game. If he can just take a page out of PJ Walker's playbook and only attempt, less than 20 passes and just feed the rock to Blackshear, to Deontay Foreman, to Chuba Hubbard if he's healthy, and just let those guys do their thing. I think good things happen when the Panthers rush for 30-plus times. I know it sounds like Matt Rule, but when you got a guy like Deontay Foreman, like I mentioned multiple times already, basically his season started 2 weeks ago. They forgot about him against Cincinnati, or was it against Cincinnati? I think it was against Cincinnati. But then they rediscovered him against the Atlanta Falcons, and if they just continue to pound the rock with him and just maintain that keep pounding mentality with him, Blackshear, and Chuba, and then if the time is right, Terrace Marshall's wide open because they're double teaming DJ Moore, hit Tommy Tremble. As long as they're safe passes, I swear if I see one batted pass, I might chug a beer and just walk into the middle of the highway. But not actually. Don't do that. Don't do that. If things don't go your way, don't do that. Talk to somebody. But anyways, I think if Baker just takes a page out of PJ, like you don't need to, prove to the doubters out there that your next job, wherever it's going to be, because it's not going to be on the Panthers, that you can actually lead a team. Don't do that. They have the highest chance of winning if you pass less than 20 times. You just hit the open receiver if you can get over the line, that is. And I think good things will happen to the offense. Just run the ball. I think the offensive line is maybe top 5 offensive line in this league. Just trust them in the run block, and then just trust the open receiver when they are open. Don't let your ego throw the ball. You throw the ball when the time is right, Baker. And I think the Panthers will be all right in that sense. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win this game 28-21. And the 2 touchdowns are going to come from Deontay Foreman and maybe Terrace Marshall. Keeps it going. This is the point of the season where I'm looking at. I mentioned that before. Not totally giving up. I did mention wild card. Like the NFC South is that bad that it could happen mathematically. But I'm still looking out for the development of guys like Terrace Marshall, guys like Chuba Hubbard, who I'm almost giving up on. Guys like Terrace Marshall, J.C. Horn. I want to see him going up against their number 1 receiver. Brandon Smith can get out there as well on defense. Let me know your score predictions. And just a reminder, Sunday night is the reaction video, not only to this game now, because as we're seeing that the quarterback of the future on this team isn't living in Charlotte right now, I'm also going to be doing a recap of all things college football. Definitely, obviously, most looking at the Bryce Youngs of the world, the CJ Strouds, the Anthony Richardsons, who you're seeing his name a lot this week on the Twitter timeline. He's getting the respect he deserves. The Cam Wards. Am I going to mention Will Levis? Maybe. But make sure to tune in to that reaction video to the Panthers at Ravens and also rest of college football. I appreciate you guys. Make sure if you're new here, like, subscribe, spread the word. See you guys Sunday night.